The United States is home to some of the largest mansions ever built, but have you ever wondered which one is the biggest? Hi everyone, Ken here. Today we're uncovering the 10 biggest homes ever built in the United States. Hit that subscribe button and let's begin our countdown at number 10, Harbor Hill. Known as Harbor Hill, the mansion said to have inspired the Great Gatsby. Clarence Mackay, born into immense wealth, was the son of John William Mackay, an Irish immigrant who struck it rich in the silver and gold mines of Virginia City, Nevada, with a fortune equivalent to $2.5 billion today. Despite his newfound wealth, John was snubbed by high society, but his children, including Clarence, were welcomed. In 1897, Clarence married Catherine Alexander Dewar, known as Kitty, who came from old money. As a wedding gift, John Mackay gave Harbor Hill to the couple. Situated on 648 acres overlooking Hempstead Harbor in Long Island, the estate was designed by architect Stanford White. The more than 80,000 square foot mansion featured 52 rooms and took 3 years to build, requiring a staff of 126 servants to maintain. The entrance hall, with its oak-paneled walls and Jacobean-styled ceiling, set the tone for the lavish interiors. The grand staircase, adorned with carved banisters and flooded with light, led to the main hall with chevron-patterned floors and a massive fireplace. The drawing room, styled in Louis XV fashion, doubled as a ballroom, while the billiards room and dining room showcased oak paneling and French antiques. The house was adorned with artworks by Botticelli, Raphael, and other Renaissance masters. However, Kitty's affair led her to leave Clarence in 1910. Clarence later fell in love with Anna Case, a soprano at the Metropolitan Opera, and they married in 1930 after Kitty's passing. Harbor Hill hosted grand parties with notable guests like Charles Lindbergh and F. Scott Fitzgerald. The 1925 party for Edward, Prince of Wales, is said to have inspired Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, but the good times quickly came to an end. The stock market crash of 1929 devastated Clarence's finances. He and Anna moved into a small farmhouse on the estate, and Clarence passed away in 1938. Harbor Hill fell into disrepair and was demolished with dynamite in 1947. Then a few years later in 1955, Clarence's son sold the estate to a developer who built 400 homes on the property. Number 9. Meadowbrook Hall. Meadowbrook Hall, a Tudor Revival masterpiece located in Rochester Hills, Michigan, ranks as the 9th largest mansion on our list. Built between 1926 and 1929 by Matilda Dodge Wilson, heiress to the Dodge automotive fortune, and her second husband, lumber baron Alfred Wilson, this grand estate covers over 88,000 square feet and contains 110 rooms. Designed by the architectural firm Smith, Hinchman & Grillis, with William E. Capp as the lead architect, Meadowbrook Hall is renowned for its exquisite craftsmanship and architectural significance. Today, Meadowbrook Hall stands as a historic house museum, inviting visitors to explore its grand halls and lush grounds, preserving the legacy of the Dodge and Wilson families and their contributions to American history and architecture. Number 8. Shadow Lawn. Now part of Monmouth University in West Long Branch, New Jersey, Shadow Lawn stands as a testament to the grandeur of pre-Depression estate houses. Built in 1927 for Hubert T. Parson, president of the F.W. Woolworth Company, this mansion is one of the last grand estate houses constructed before the economic downturn of the Great Depression. Designed by the renowned architects Horace Trumbauer and Julian Abel, Shadow Lawn showcases a blend of Beaux-Arts, French chateau, and Italian Renaissance architectural styles, earning its designation as a National Historic Landmark in 1985. This 3-story masonry building spans over 300 feet in width and features a Doric column portico, a dentelated cornice, and a balustrade adorned with sculptures. Inside, the mansion boasts more than 100 lavishly appointed rooms, including a grand main hall with an Aeolian Skinner organ and a 100-foot-long interior courtyard with a skylight. Among its many luxurious amenities, the basement houses a rarely used bowling alley. The original Shadow Lawn estate was developed in the early 20th century by John A. McCall, president of the New York Life Insurance Company. The initial 52-room mansion served as President Woodrow Wilson's summer White House in 1916. After the original house was destroyed by fire in 1927, Parson and his wife Maisie commissioned the construction of the current mansion, sparing no expense. The project, which cost over $10 million, continued on despite the onset of the Great Depression, ultimately leading to financial ruin for the Parsons. Unable to sell the estate, it was taken by the town for a symbolic $100 in 1939. Number 7. Winterthur. Henry Francis DuPont, born into immense wealth, was the son of a senator who had purchased the Winterthur estate, originally a 12-room house that his father expanded to 30 rooms. Growing up in such grandeur, Henry developed a deep love for the estate. After graduating from Harvard with a degree in horticulture, he returned to Winterthur, embracing a simple life connected to nature. Identifying himself as a farmer, Henry raised dairy cattle and meticulously maintained the gardens of the 2,500-acre estate. Upon his father's death in 1926, Henry inherited a vast fortune as the only surviving DuPont son. Unlike many who suffered during the Great Depression, Henry's wealth grew, allowing him to expand Winterthur from 30 rooms to an astonishing 175 rooms, making it the 7th largest home ever built in the United States, covering 96,582 square feet. His vision was to create a museum celebrating early Americana spanning from the 1640s to the 1840s. To achieve this, he purchased entire rooms, architectural salvage, and heirlooms from estate sales across the country. Henry enlisted renowned interior designer Henry Davis Sleeper to help configure period-appropriate displays for each room. Visitors to Winterthur are greeted by a floating staircase spiraling through an oculus to the top floor. The mansion features many wonders, including the Chinese room with wallpaper dating back to 1775, as well as rooms adorned with vintage wallpaper and painted wood panels. Each room offers a glimpse into America's diverse cultural influences, from humble pine-boarded family dining rooms to classically finished spaces with pilasters and wainscoting. The mansion also includes a cobblestone street with colonial and Italianate storefronts, showcasing Henry's collections in recreated historical environments. His library, said to house 87,000 books and 500,000 manuscripts, rivals university archives worldwide. In 1941, Henry opened Winterthur to the public, initially limiting tours to a few guests by formal request. By 1951, the DuPont family moved to a smaller home, fully transforming Winterthur into a public museum. Henry's dedication to showcasing American heritage earned national recognition, including an invitation from First Lady Jackie Kennedy to oversee the White House renovations in the 1960s. Henry DuPont passed away in 1969, but his dream of Winterthur lived on. Today, the estate remains open to the public with over 900 acres of grounds to explore, preserving the legacy of early American history and design. Number 6. Cornelius Vanderbilt II's Mansion. Originally built in 1883, Cornelius Vanderbilt II felt insecure about the size of his mansion. His neighbors along Fifth Avenue were building larger and larger homes, and not wanting to be outdone, he purchased every house on his block and had them demolished. He then hired architect Richard Morris Hunt to expand his mansion so that it would fill the entire block. The 125,000 square foot Chateauette-style mansion boasted 130 rooms spread through its 6 stories above ground, not including any of the space in the several sub-basements. The rambling mansion contained great halls, grand staircases, and perhaps more gold in its gilded rooms than any of the neighboring palaces combined. Cornelius enjoyed the mansion for only 13 years before passing away, at which point the chateau was left to his wife Alice. She inherited a trust fund with more than enough money to maintain the chateau in their smaller 66,000 square foot cottage known as the Breakers in Newport, Rhode Island. By the 1920s, nearly all of the Gilded Age mansions in the neighborhood had been torn down and replaced by skyscrapers. Alice wanted to keep the house, but as time passed by, it became less and less affordable to do so. In 1926, she sold the house for the price of the land which sat below it, fetching a cool $7 million, or the modern equivalent of about $120 million. Before it was introduced to the Wrecking Ball, she opened the house for the public to tour and essentially gave away any and all architectural elements that people could strip from the mansion and repurpose. Today, the only remnant of the largest house ever built in Manhattan is the front gate of the Vanderbilt Chateau, which stands as the 105 Street entrance to Central Park. Number 5. Arden House. Arden House, the 5th largest mansion on our list, is a historic estate located near Harriman, New York. This grand property was owned by the railroad magnate, Edward Henry Harriman. By the early 1900s, the Harriman family owned an impressive 40,000 acres in the area, with half of it comprising the Arden estate. The mansion itself sits atop a mountain, offering sweeping views of the surrounding landscape. Designed by the prominent architects Carrere and Hastings, construction of the house began in 1905. Although Harriman had planned the estate for many years, he lived in it only briefly before his death in 1909. Today, Arden House is operated as a conference center. Number 4. Whitemarsh Hall. Henry Ford once remarked, "It's a great experience to see how the rich live," about this remarkable estate. Taking the 4th spot on our list, Whitemarsh Hall was an architectural marvel of its time. Edward Stotesbury, affectionately known as Ned, was born in 1849 and possessed a natural talent for mathematics, which greatly benefited his career as a financier and banker. Teaming up with J.P. Morgan, Stotesbury became one of the wealthiest men on Wall Street. After losing his first wife, he found love again with Eva Bishop Roberts, whom he married in 1912. In 1916, the couple purchased 300 acres in Springfield, Pennsylvania to build their dream home. Architect Horace Trumbauer was hired to design the mansion, which cost a staggering $10 million at the time, equivalent to nearly $300 million today. Whitemarsh Hall featured 6 stories, including 3 underground levels and 1 hidden by the roof. The main floors boasted 25-foot ceilings, and the mansion's footprint measured 283 feet wide by 100 feet deep. Clad in Indiana limestone, the 147-room mansion was a stunning example of classical architecture, set atop a hill with meticulously maintained gardens. The mansion's grandeur was evident upon entering through 50-foot limestone columns into the entrance hall with a grand staircase. The 64-foot-long ballroom could accommodate 800 guests and featured a pipe organ. The house was decorated with antiques sourced by Joseph Devane and hosted notable guests such as the future King Gustav VI of Sweden. Maintaining the estate cost over $1 million annually, with a full staff managing amenities like in-home movie theater, barbershop, bakery, a gymnasium, and a wine cellar, even during Prohibition. The Great Depression marked the beginning of the end for Whitemarsh Hall. The estate ceased hosting large parties, and Ned and Ava spent 2 years in Europe. Upon returning, they found life had irrevocably changed. Ned passed away in 1938, leaving Ava with the equivalent of $83 million, insufficient to maintain the estate. Ava sold off antiques, jewelry, and art, but the house continued to drain her finances. She eventually abandoned the estate, donating parts of it to various causes. In 1943, Ava sold the mansion and 45.6 acres to the Pennsylvania Salt Company for $160,000. The remaining property was developed into homes for returning World War II soldiers. The mansion then changed hands multiple times before being demolished in 1980. Today, only the limestone columns and remnants of the stone terrace remain a silent witness to the grandeur that once was Whitemarsh Hall. Number 3. The One. Coming in as the third largest house ever built in the US is The One in Bel Air, California. This modernist compound boasts over 105,000 square feet and has been featured in dozens of house tour videos across all social media platforms. Because it is so trendy, we'll move on to Number 2. Oheka Castle. Taking the second spot on our list is Oheka Castle, a magnificent estate built by financier and philanthropist Otto Kahn in the early 20th century. Responding to the discrimination he faced with Jews being barred from clubs and golf courses in Morristown, New Jersey, Kahn decided to construct a grand, fireproof mansion. After his previous country home, Cedar Court, was nearly destroyed by a fire in 1905, Kahn was determined to prevent such a disaster from happening again. He hired architects Delano and Aldrich to design Oheka Castle with steel and concrete, making it one of the first completely fireproof residential buildings. Construction began with the creation of an artificial hill, providing the castle with sweeping views of Cold Spring Hills and Cold Spring Harbor. The estate grounds were meticulously designed by the Olmsted brothers, featuring a formal sunken garden with clipped greens, gravel parterres, and water terraces. The 443-acre property boasted an 18-hole golf course designed by Seth Rayner, one of the largest private greenhouse complexes in America, tennis courts, an indoor swimming pool, a landing strip, orchards, and stables. Following Kahn's death in 1934, the estate changed hands several times and served various purposes, including as a retreat for New York City sanitation workers and the Eastern Military Academy, which occupied the house until 1979. Today, Oheka Castle stands as a testament to Kahn's vision and determination, continuing to awe visitors with its grandeur and historical significance. Number 1. Biltmore Estate. Topping our list as the largest mansion ever built in the United States, the Biltmore Estate stands as a testament to the grandeur of the Gilded Age. George Washington Vanderbilt, born into one of the greatest fortunes the New World had ever seen, set out to create his monumental residence. He acquired 195 square miles of land near Asheville, North Carolina, and hired prominent landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted. Olmsted's task was to design not only the formal gardens and breathtaking vistas, but also to create a self-sustaining estate complete with numerous farms. Vanderbilt then enlisted famed Gilded Age architect Richard Morris Hunt to design the mansion. The result was the Biltmore, boasting over 178,000 square feet with 250 rooms, 35 bedrooms, and 43 bathrooms. To appreciate its scale, envision the rooms spread over more than 4 acres if laid out on a single level. Construction of the 4-story mansion nestled into the hillside began in 1889 and lasted 6 years, employing over 1,000 workers daily. The brick walls were reinforced with a steel frame, and the facade was clad in Indiana limestone brought to the site via a private railroad. Inside, visitors are greeted by the limestone-clad main hall and the light-filled winter garden. The banquet hall, the largest room in the house, stretches 72 feet long with 70-foot-high barrel-vaulted ceilings and a dining table that can seat 64 guests. The room also features a triple fireplace and a built-in pipe organ. Other notable spaces include the more intimate breakfast room, the kitchen, the salon adorned with European antiques, and the library housing over 10,000 volumes with a Baroque design and a ceiling mural imported from Italy. The Biltmore's opulence extends to its upper floors, where George and Edith Vanderbilt's grand bedrooms are located. The basement offers a bowling alley, an indoor pool, and a gymnasium equipped with the finest late 1800s workout gear. Although the estate has been reduced to 8,000 acres, it remains privately owned by Vanderbilt's descendants and welcomes over 100,000 visitors annually, serving as a house museum and showcasing the height of America's Gilded Age architecture and landscaping. And while I did my best to compile this list, there are a few honorable mentions to include. Not every mansion had its square footage recorded before being demolished. Clark's Folly in Manhattan is one such mansion, which boasted an estimated 77,000 square feet to possibly as much as 110,000 square feet. The mansion was started in 1897 and completed in 1911, then demolished shortly afterwards in 1927, only standing for 16 short years. Despite being under construction for 14 years, with some of the world's most prominent artists sculpting its marble and limestone walls, most of the incredible artisan work ended up in a landfill. There is also a mansion which was touted as the second largest house ever built in the United States, though it was never properly measured. Shadowbrook in Stockbridge, Massachusetts was built by Anson Phelps Stokes to be a grand display of wealth. While several sources claim it was second only to the Biltmore, the mansion spontaneously exploded before it could be properly documented. And even though Versailles in Florida is still under construction and is touted as the largest house ever built by many media outlets, it simply would not be in the top 10 no matter how you measured it. So there you have it, the 10 largest homes ever built in the United States. Did you have a favorite? Let me know down below in the comments section, and while you're there, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an exciting episode of This House.